Today's lesson is going to be on Scratch. We are going to get a small robot and have him move around the screen. We have to give him the right directions so that he can move the right way. So we start off on the Google page and you write Scratch. Once you write Scratch, this page here will come up, Scratch, and we click onto that one there. Once you get to there, you'll get to this page and we're going to go to Create. In the top left-hand corner, click on the Create button. Now when you start the Scratch for the first time, you will have these two windows here, and these are tutorials teaching you how to do things. We're not going to use those today, so we just click on that box and that gets rid of that tutorial. And we're going to start with our cat. Now this is the starting page for Scratch. This is the standard starting page. However, we did in our last lesson, we did changing sprites. Now I want to change this sprite. I don't want to use the cat. I would like to use the robot. So I'm going to go up here to the top left hand side and I'm going to click on costumes. And you can see here there are two sprites, two costumes, and we're going to add some others. So what we do is we go down to the bottom of the page down here and you click once on the little green cat to choose a costume. Now sometimes you'll have to wait for a minute for it to load, and then you'll get a load of all of these different little pictures that we could use. We're going to go to the top left hand side and we're going to write the word robot, R-O-B-O-T, robot, and we're going to choose robot A, and we click on robot A and you'll see he comes into this picture here, and we can zoom back a little bit if you want to see the full robot. So we've got robot A. Now we're also going to click and do it again, and this time we're going to choose robot B. So we're going to here, robot, and this time this one says robot B, same picture except he's turned sideways. We're going to click on that one, and then we're going to do it again and click on the plus here, and we wait for a little bit. Remember, it takes a little bit of time. Once you click on it, do a search again for robot, and we're going to choose robot C, and then we're going to do the same thing for robot D. So we will have the two cats and 4 robots on our costumes page. Now we're not going to use the cats today, so we're going to get rid of those in just a moment. I'll just get this 4th robot. There it is, robot D. There we go. So we've got 4 robots and 2 cats. Now I don't want the cats, so I'm going to click on the first one and I'm going to click on the little rubbish bin, the little trash can next to the cat. Just click it once and it'll go away. And then I'm going to click on this one again and I'm going to click on that once and that'll go away. So now I have robot A, robot B, robot C and robot D. Now at this stage they're the only 4 we need. Later, if you get into section 2 of this video, we're going to copy robot B and we're going to copy robot C and we're going to flip them so they're walking a different way. But we don't need to do that yet. So let's go back to our code. Now we have our main robot here on the screen right at the very start, and he's right in the middle of the screen. This is the screen we're looking at right here. He's right in the middle of the screen. Now we want to make him move from here over to the right hand side. Then we want him to move up, and that's what we're going to work on for our first part of our activity. Now where this picture is placed, this robot, is at a position called 0 and 0. It's called X, 0, Y, 0. Now X means going across the page, right or left, and Y means going up and down the page. So if I wanted this robot to move from here over to the edge of this page here, I could click on there and I could put the number 200 and he'll move to the edge of that page. Now if I wanted him to go back to the middle, I could push 0 and he'll go back to the middle. If I wanted him to move this way, I could put minus 200, negative 200, and then he'll move all the way over to this side of the screen. So I'm going to put him back to 0, and then I'm going to go and hit enter after I do that, put him back in the middle, and I'm going to try and move him up and down. Now I could do this one. I could say maybe 100, move him to the top of the screen, or back to 0, and I could go negative 100, which will move him down the bottom of the screen. Okay, so there are different things that we could do, and we're going to use these X and Y later when we do our programming to help move our sprite around. Okay, so how do we start our activity? And for those of you who've been doing the other Scratch activities, you'll know the first thing we want to do is we want to put when clicked, when this green arrow here is clicked, this will start our program. Okay, now the first thing that we want to do is that we want to make sure that our program starts with the robot in the correct position. We want our robot to start at X0, Y0. So I'm going to go to the motion tab on the left hand side over here, and I am going to search down through these different ones, and I'm going to choose the one that says go to, and I'm going to put that in there, and I'm going to say go to 0, 0. So my robot is always going to start right in the middle of the screen by putting go to position 0, X0, Y0, that's where it's going to start. I also want my robot, every time we start, I want my robot to start with the first robot picture. So I don't want to be robot D, C or B, I want to be robot A. Now if you're not sure, you can go back and look at costumes and remember robot A is this one. This is robot B, this is robot C, this is robot D, right? So I want to start with robot A. So I've put into my code robot A. So now we've got the robots in the middle of the screen. This is the first picture that we're going to see. And then I want him to walk over to the right hand side. That's what we're trying to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get him to say hello. So I'm going to get the word say hello. So he says hello, and then we're going to wait for 2 seconds so the word hello will come up on the screen. And then I want him to move over to the right. Now when we want to do something to move, we use the motion tab. And we could go move, and we could put that in there, and that will move 10 steps. That'll make the X axis, the X, go up by 10, so he will move a little bit over to here. Now, that's very good. That's what I kind of want him to do, but I don't want him to move just 10. I want him to move to the edge of the page, and I know the edge of the page is 200. Now, I could put 200 in here, 200. I clicked on it and typed the word 200. And if I put that onto there and I click that, and now if I click the go button, it should say hello, then it should move it over to the right hand side. Hello. Bang, it moved it over. But it kind of jumped over there. It didn't really walk over there, and I really kind of want it to walk. So I'm going to move this move word down the bottom here, and I'm going to change that back to 10. So he takes little steps to get over to the side of the page. Now, I'm going to go and use a repeat function. Now, this is a really interesting one. So this will make him do 10 steps over and over and over and over again. So this is a loop. This is called a repeat function. And this is an interesting one that we'll get to use a lot of times. For today, I just want you to try and use it the way that I show you. But you'll get used to using this repeat function. So we know that we want him to move over 200 places. So 10 times 10 at the moment equals 100. So I'm going to make this 20. So 20 times 10 would equal 200. So now I can put that inside there, and I could move that to there, and then we can start our program again. And if I click start, it should start off at 0 with the robot A. He should say hello, and then it'll move 10 steps all the way over here, but it should be a little bit slower. So let's have a look at that. Hello. And this time he glided across, which kind of looks like he's moving. So that's kind of what I want in the video. That's a good start for my video. Okay, next thing I want him to do is I want him to change what he's looking like. Because at the moment when I run it, he just glides over to the side. I don't really want him to glide. I kind of want him to maybe look like he's walking, or he's moving, or he's changing the way that he walks. Now, what I want to do is I want to check my costumes, and I want to have a look at robot B where it looks like he turns sideways, And robot C looks like he turns sideways as well. He's got a different puff of smoke at the bottom. So I might try and use these two different pictures of him to animate, to move him over to the right-hand side. So I'm going to go back to my code here. And on my code here, this time I'm going to say, when we start doing this loop here, I want to change the costume. I want to change the costume. I've gone up to looks here. I'm going to switch the costume. I'm going to grab that and I'm going to put it inside the loop. So it's inside this repeating loop. And I'm going to change it to costume B. Now remember, I can go back and check. Costume B is moving sideways. So that's the one that I want. So I've changed that to costume B. Now I'm going to take 10 steps. And then after those 10 little steps, I want to change it to costume C. So this time I'm going to change it to a different costume, costume C. So we started with costume A, then he's going to turn sideways with costume B, then he's going to move 10 steps, then he's going to change to costume C, and then it'll repeat again. Okay, but that means he doesn't really do anything with costume C. So I kind of want to be able to see what happens. Let's just play it and see what happens now. Oh, he turns sideways, but he doesn't look like he's changing. He looks like he's just stayed in that one position and gone sideways again. So I need a way to stop. Every time he changes costume, we want to stop and look at the new costume. And we can do that with a control called wait. Now I'm going to grab this wait one and I'm going to put this inside the loop, but above the change of the costume. Then I'm going to grab another wait one and I'm going to put it inside the loop and above the costume again here. Now let's have a look. So this time, once the loop starts, it's going to wait 1 second, change costume, take 10 steps, wait another second, change costume, and then it'll go back and start again. So let's watch what happens this time. Okay, that's pretty good. Look, he looks like his arms are going up and down. His cloud of smoke is changing, but it's way too slow. I want him to move over to the edge of the page faster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it less than 1 second. And to make it less than a second, I'm going to use what's called a decimal point. I'm going to put a full stop in, and then I'm going to put 2.5. And what that is, that's 0.25 of a second, or a quarter of a second each time he stops. So it should be much quicker. This time I'm going to do the same here, 0.25. So I'm changing the speed that he stops and waits for. So let's have a go at this time. Let's press play. Hello, turn sideways, his arms move, and he's moving a lot quicker over to the side of the page. And that's kind of what I want. I want to see that his arms are going up and down. I want to see that he's taking the steps over, and then he gets to the edge of the page. That's exactly what I wanted. Now, once he gets to the edge of the page, I want him to go back to his original position where he was facing me. So I'm going to go back to looks, and I'm going to say, get another switch costume, and I'm going to put this outside of the loop. So this loop's finished. He's gone all the way to the edge of the page. The loop's finished. Now we're getting to switch a costume. And this time I want him to wear costume A. So he's going to go back to his normal position. And I want him to say something again. So let's grab the say words in here. And this time I'm going to say, now up. So now we want to go up. Okay, and he's going to wait for 2 seconds. So let's run that again and see what happens with our program. He starts off in the middle, he says hello. He moves over to the right-hand side of the page. And then when he gets to the right-hand side of the page, he should stop and look at us again. And now he says, now let's go up, right? In fact, we could even write now, let's go up, right? And I'll make it all capital so it's clear to read. Right, now let's go up. Okay, so we've done a good thing. Now one thing I want to show you, we're just going to stop at this moment and we're going to have a quick look at this X and Y axis again. Now this time when I go to play the program, I'm just going to stop it for a second. You'll see it starts at 0 and 0. That's our starting position, 0 and 0. Now when I click the green arrow, you watch this X go up, right? It'll go up by 10 because we did move 10 steps, and then it'll go up by another 10, then up by another 10 until it does it 20 times, right? Watch. Here we go. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 200. So he's gone up. It's done it 20 times, 10 steps each time, and now our sprite is at position X, 200, Y, 0, because we haven't gone up and down yet, right? We've only gone right or left, and we only went right to start with. Now, this is the tricky bit. We would like to pretty much do this walking motion and changing what he looks like. We kind of want to do that again. And this time when we do it, we want him to walk up the screen, and we want to change costumes. And the costume this time we want to use is Robot D, which is his back. So it makes it look like he's walking away from us. So now we go over to here, and we're going to put in another loop. We're going to put another little loop in. So we go to Controls, we go to Repeat, and we could put a repeat loop in here, and it's still going to go 10 times, except this time, I'm not sure that we need it to go all the way 200 places, all the way to the top. If we go 200 places, is it going to go outside the top of the screen? Not sure, so we might need to change that. Right, we also want to go to the motion, and we want to move. Now, if we use this move 10, remember I said move will move you across to the right-hand side, but we don't want to do that. We want it to move up. So to go up, remember I said X is sideways, Y is up and down. So I'm going to go to this different one here that's called Change Y by 10. And I'm going to grab that one, and I'm going to put that into there. And this time we're going to go 10 times through, 10 steps each one. So we're going to go a total of 100. And that way he will go from there to the top of the page, and that's where I would like him to be. Now, I also would like him to change his costume. Remember we said we want to see his back. So I'm going to go to Looks. I'm going to say Switch Costume. I'm going to do that before he walks. And I'm going to change this costume to be Robot D, which is his back. And remember when we did that, we said we wanted to have a weight in there so we could see the costume. So I'm going to put a weight into there, and that weight is going to be 0.25, which is a quarter of a second. And now I think I've got him stopping, saying, now let's go up. Then I think I've got it so he'll walk upward because we're changing the y-axis. He'll walk upward, and it should have his back to us. So let's try, let's have a look. Hello. Walking sideways, that's great. That's what I wanted him to do. Then he's going to get to the edge of the page. He's going to say, now let's go up, and there's a little bit of time for me to read it. He turns his back to us, and then he walks up. That's fantastic. Now, right at the end when he's up here, I want him to turn and face us again. Now we've done this once already. We did it by doing this little thing here. So let's go to Looks. Let's copy what we've done here. So we're going to say Switch Costume, outside of the loop, Switch Costume, back to Costume A. And then we're going to have him say something. And this time we're going to say, let's go left. Now that's going to be our left on the screen, but for the robot it might be his right, but for us it's going to be our left. So let's go left, and we'll put capital letters in there. Let's go left. Okay, now let's have a look and see what happens when we run it. Starts in the middle, says hello, walks over to the right hand side of the screen. That's exactly what we want him to do. Once he gets over to the right-hand side of the screen, he stops and he says to us, now let's go up. He turns his back and he walks up the screen away from us. Then he turns around and says, let's go left. Now, if you are in grade 3, that's all you have to do on the video. We are going to finish right there, unless you want to challenge yourself and go further. If you would like to challenge yourself and go further, you can keep going and do the rest of the video. But that's all you have to do at this stage. We've used some of our skills of changing the sprites. We've used some animation from the last activity that we've done. And we've learnt a little bit about the X and the Y axis. And we've given our robot directions to go from one position to the next and then up again. That's the end of part 1 of the video. Okay, so now we've got our robot moving from the center, going to the right, turning around, walking up to the top of the screen. Now they're at the top right-hand corner. Now I want them to walk all the way back over to the other side, and then I want them to turn and face and talk to me again, and we're going to try and get them to walk down to the bottom. Now, to make them walk this way, we don't have any costumes that have them walking this way. So if we go to our costume library, you can see we've got one facing us, one moving to the right, a second one moving to the right, and then his back to us. But we don't have any where he's actually going to the left. So what we do is we click on this first robot, robot B. We click on that. You hold down your control key on your Mac or your command key on your, is it control on PC as well. You hold that button down, you click on it, and you click on the word duplicate. And then when you duplicate, you'll see this one's called Robot B2. Okay, we're going to change that to Robot E. Okay, so we're going to press E, and we're going to grab that and we're going to move it down and put it underneath Robot D. So we've still got A, B, C, D, and now we've got E. Now with Robot E, we want to flip the whole thing so he's facing the other way. So we click flip horizontally, and now he is facing over that way. Now we're going to do the same thing with Robot C. Click on Robot C, hold down the control key, click on it, hit duplicate. Grab the file, move it down to the very bottom. We rename this one to F, and then we hit enter, and then we go flip horizontally. So now we've got forward, right, right, walking away from us, left, left. So Robot E and F are the two robots that we're going to use to have him move across the screen this way. So let's go back to our code. So we've got our code here, and we've actually got some good code here that we've already used. We've got this whole repeat section here, which has the wait, change costume, move by the steps, the wait, change costume. That's a great little loop that we've got there. So instead of recreating that whole loop down there, I'm going to click on the repeat button. I'm going to hold down control on my keyboard, click on that, and I'm going to say duplicate. And that's duplicated, well in fact that's duplicated a lot more than I wanted to, but that's okay. We've duplicated a whole lot. Let's go to here, separate that section out. I've just dragged that down. I'm going to click on that and I'm just going to press delete. Oops. I'm going to just go through and delete these rows because I don't need these rows. I just wanted that loop. So that's a really good loop that we've already got. So I'm going to grab that loop, I'm going to drag it down, I'm going to put it on the bottom of my code. Now I'm just going to move my code up so I can see it. Now the problem we've got here is he switches to the costume B. Now I don't want it to be costume B, I want him moving left. So I'm going to switch it now to the new costume E. And then I'm going to switch this one to the new costume F. Okay, so at this stage, he's walked to the top of the screen. He says, now let's go left. He goes here, it changes to his left-looking robot. Now I need him to move to the left. And remember, when we do move 10 steps, that moves the x-axis to the right-hand side. So I want this to go back the other way. Now, what I could do is I could say negative 10 steps. So if I go into there and I put negative in, he could move negative 10 steps. So he'll go back the other way 10 steps. And he'll do it for a total of 20 times 10, essentially, which is 200. But remember when we started in the middle of the screen and we moved over to the side, which was 200. Now we want to start at the side of the screen and we don't want to go just 200. We actually want to go all the way to the other side, which would be another 200, which would mean 40. So our repeat here would have to change to 40. 40. Okay, so now he should walk all the way across this screen here. Now there are two ways to do this. In fact, there's plenty of ways to do this, but this is one way that I've done it. Another way you could have done it is you could have gone change x-axis by, and in here you could have put -10, right? So it's the same concept. You could have gone change specifically the x-axis, change it by -10. And in fact, I might do that just to show you how that works. I'm just going to glue that back onto there, grab that, put that back into there. So now we're working on the axis rather than working on steps, which is a little bit vague. Okay, let's run the program, see what happens. Starts in the middle, we know this. He walks over to the right-hand side while he looks to the right-hand side. That's what we want him to do. Then he gets to the edge of the page and he stops and he says, now let's go up. The sprite changes, he moves up the page, he stops, let's go left. Now he turns and faces towards the left and he's moving across the page to the left-hand side. That's exactly what we want. We want him to go, and he's going 40 steps, and you can see here now the x-axis is getting into the negatives. He's moving 40 steps, which will give us a total of 400 positions all the way over to the other side of the screen. Now that he's over this side of the screen, we want him to change back to our robot A, and then we want him to say what we're going to do next. Now you should know how to do this. We go switch costumes, below the loop, click here, and change that to robot A, and then we want him to say, let's go to the bottom. Let's go to the bottom. Oh, let's say let's go down. Let's change it just to let's go down. Let's go down. Okay, so now we want him to go down. So if I click on this sprite here, that should make him go to this position here, all right, facing forward. That's good. Come on, hurry up. Now remember, if you want to change the speed, you change the wait time in between these, in between each little animation. And if you want it to go quicker, you can just change that from 0.25 to 0.2 or 0.15. You can change those things to make the animation go quicker. Okay, so he's walking his way down the screen. Now the reason that we did it this way is we wanted the actual thing to animate. We didn't want it to just glide across the screen. We want it to actually move. When he gets to the side here and faces the front, let's go down, we just want him to glide down to the bottom, okay? So we could grab the opposite of the loop that made him go up. So this was the loop here that made him go up, this repeat loop here. So we could control click on that. We could go duplicate that little section there. Oh, it's duplicated the whole lot again. That's fine. Let's just get that and just delete all of that. Okay, did we delete all that? Good, right? We're going to grab this loop here. We're going to move it down. And we're going to move it down here. And this time, we are going to repeat 20 times, so we go from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen. And we're going to change the y-axis by a negative figure, right? So -10, which should take him to the bottom of the screen. Then we want him to face the front, so we change to the animation, which is robot A, and then we can get him to say, well done. Well done. Okay, so there's a bit of an extension for the year 4s and 5s students. Now, what I would like you to do is see if you can then move him across the screen to the middle here and then back up to position 0, 0, XY coordinate 0, 0, and see if you can get him to move across and back up to the finished position just by adding different sections of code down here. Now you can also add sound and you could also add a background image if you would like to go a little bit further. You guys know how to do that. You've done that before in year 4, 5 and 6. I think you guys have done that, so have a go at that. Let's just watch it one last time to make sure that our video all works perfectly and he ends facing me saying well done for 2 seconds. Let's have a quick look. And yeah, let's just do it as it is. Right, I'll take this off. So here we go. Walks over to the right hand side. And stops. Now let's go up. Moves his way up to the top of the screen, turn around. Let's go left. Walks his way across the screen till he gets to the left hand edge. Once he reaches that left-hand edge, let's go down. He should float all the way down to the bottom of the screen. But he's got his back to us. We need to change that. Then when he gets to the end, he says, well done. Now what we could do is go to this section right here, and instead of him being robot D, we could have changed that to robot A, so that he'll have his face to us as he comes down. And in which case, if that's robot A, we don't need to switch costumes to robot A at the end, because he'll already be in costume robot A. So we can delete that little section there, and then we can just put the well done at the end for the 2 seconds, right? So we don't need to change that. So there's our program, that's how it works. Now, for those students who are in 4, 5 and 6, if you would like to save this file, you can say File and you can save to your computer. Or what you could do is you could join Scratch or sign in if you already have a Scratch account. If you join Scratch, it's just an email address and just some information, and you can save this file and then you can go back and work on it again. Now, you don't have to do that. There's no necessity for you to save and join in and do all those sorts of things. This is so that you learn a little bit about the loops. Most importantly, you learn about the X and the Y axis, and you're learning about giving directions and following a set path of directions to make sure that the animation does what you have asked it to do. If you would like to record a video of your robot going around the screen, you could do that, and you could post that video back onto Seesaw and let me see how it goes. Good luck. I hope you enjoy this activity.